Okay. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Well, for all the people who are not familiar with me, my name is Janet Caliri, and I'm the founder of Visible Transitions and Rethrival Leadership, Lunch and Learns. And today I have Dr. Amy Shouse, whom I will properly introduce in a few minutes. We're here today to talk to you about how you can go from suffering to celebration, and uh, how important the importance of treating and working with the whole person, the emotional and physical and mental, spiritual, all aspects of the person when they are suffering, or when they're in the midst of a life transition like a chronic illness or acute illness. And Amy has been my rock since January 14th, 2020 of this year, in all of my acute and chronic health issues, parasites and hives and concussions, mast cell activation syndrome, and on and on. And I stand before you today as a visible transition. Even 2 months ago, I would not be doing this, and definitely not 6 months ago. And for those who don't know me, the disclaimer on the sunglasses is that part of my health issue is a traumatic brain injury that makes looking at screens and light it's very sensitive. It makes it painful. So I'm very sensitive to light, and I decided to make some fun of something that was uncomfortable. And I was gifted and bought most of these fun sunglasses, and that making lemonade out of lemons idea. So we have Dr. Amy Shouse here. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Janet. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. And Amy, you, in my opinion, are a badass integrative medicine doctor. Amy's a doctor of Chinese medicine, acupuncture. She's got her BA in psychology, her BS in science, master's in science. Amy has some family members who are doctors. I worked in the medical field for many years in cardiovascular interventional radiology. So Amy and I get to geek out, which is really fun. I really enjoy that. And
Yeah.
Amy has been my rock. You have been my rock for 7 months during this, what I call an evolutionary visible transition with the backdrop of Corona apocalypse.
Right.
And I want to thank
Right.
you publicly. I
Oh,
know I
thank you.
have before, but I want to thank you publicly for your expertise, for being a rock, for your curiosity, for digging in there. And that's one of the pillars of healing, in my opinion, which I'll talk about. Amy is quite a curious gal, and she goes the extra mile, and she digs, and she finds out what's going on. And I really appreciate that about you. And I appreciate your sense of humor. And to me, that sense of wonder and playfulness helps me as the patient ease into healing, and helps me with my hope and believing that I'm going to get better. So
Right.
keep doing the playfulness and the sense of humor, Amy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it, I do like to bring a little bit of a sense of humor to my work. That sounds kind of strange, being a doctor of acupuncture and integrative medicine, but I like to keep things serious when they need to be serious, and then light when they can be light. So it's definitely a part of the process. But I also wanted to say that you you made my job easier because you were so good about and willing to take the journey down the rabbit hole with me as we did tests and as we tried different things. And you were so willing and open, although you did express to me that at times you had resistance, but you expressed that to me, and you were able to work through it with your process, which I have a lot of respect for. So I think you equally did the work when it came to
Yeah.
of course. So
Thank you for that. And that's why we're here together today. And you got to witness me using my own tools through visible transitions process to help me heal. And even though you witnessed me feeling resistant, of course I was resistant. I didn't stay in the resistance much. I didn't stay in the resistance long. And then I was on to good behavior. I was on to listening to my doctor and doing the good behavior, and with ease and a sense of humor and some joy was mixed in there too. And I'm looking at the poster behind you saying "Suffering No More," and that's the foundation of this discussion, is how we can go from suffering to celebration to actually having our health issues be enjoyable and feeling easeful and staying in our personal power, staying in our conviction to heal. And you were saying that you've been looking for someone like me or something like Visible Transitions to help your patients. So say a little more about that, so people are already getting a hint.
yeah.
But say a little more from your perspective.
Well, with what I do, there's a lot of exploring of issues. We're doing testing, we're trying different things, we're practicing medicine, which means very often, and a lot of people already know this, that you get kind of lists of things to do, right? And recommendations and all this stuff. But that's that's just one part of the process. And although I do coach my patients through the process at some level, I feel like they need another source of support, some source of ongoing support to metabolize the acute or chronic conditions that they are faced with, because that can be that's such a lonely place. And it's a place where people are given recommendations, right? A recommendation isn't a tool. So with what I witnessed with you and your work was your conscious ability to recognize your own resistance when it came up, and to work through that resistance with the tools that you offer. And that's exciting to me, because I can then tell my patients, hey, you have an option here to work through these things and to actually be with and metabolize the resistance that comes up. There's a process here, and there's a woman that has formulated that process, and her name is Janet Caliri. And I had witnessed you doing this through our work together, and I'd never quite seen a patient do this way before. Showing up for the process, voicing your needs, telling me when resistance was coming up, telling me about the process, and the leaps and bounds that you've come through by using your own strategy and tools has just been amazing. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And that there is a vacuum that this system fills, that's much needed for patients, or as I like to call them, people.
People.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to me to be able to offer that, that you had this to offer.
Wow. Well, that it was so articulately said, Amy. Yeah. And it's true. I had so much fun texting you pictures of my progress, or texting you little nuggets of my progress. And that's what visible transitions is about. It's a photographic technique. One of the resources is documenting evidence of progress, the subtle steps. And you've seen this in me, and I imagine you've probably seen it with your other people, that when they notice that they've made progress, they feel excited and the confidence starts building and the conviction. And the brain hates change. Okay, so when we're in the middle of a health crisis or chronic illness, we are creating so much change, and we're required to take action to make the change. So the brain, the subconscious brain, fights that. And so visible transitions, like taking pictures of that subtle steps of progress, actually helps that part of the brain feel safe for change. And it needs that consistency. And so getting that part of the brain and the conscious brain on board together is where the magic is. And so that's one way to help that resistance go down. And you mentioned that I had resistance, but you saw me drop it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
When we're in resistance, there really is no change. There's no moving forward. It's like sludge. And so the first thing I do with my clients, my people, is I work with them on lowering or dissolving their resistance. That's the first thing we work on before that they can actually make significant change or reach a goal. And with you, we were having me attempt to reach many goals, and I'll talk about that soon.
Yeah.
And so tracking evidence of progress. So I want to show a couple of photos. Where am I? Share screen here. Okay, hold on a second. I'm having.
Which, can I say one thing about that also?
Yes, please.
Is that I don't like, as a practitioner, you get emails or photographs that people send you of the bad stuff. Like, this is what the terrible thing that's happening. So the fact that you were documenting the transition and good days and not so good days was just a dramatic shift and over something that I've seen before. So it was pretty impressive.
That is really a good point. Yes. So we're not just looking at the positive things. What we're doing is we're looking at the truth. Because when we look at the truth, when we can be with the truth via a different lens, okay, so we have the safety of the different lens, it's easy to look at the truth. And then when we see the truth, we become in the driver's seat. All right, so now we're in the driver's seat. We're like we start being the victor instead of the victim. So thank you for bringing that up, because we do look at all things. And even the things I didn't like, well, that's where I would use my neutrality method, which I will talk about in a moment. And right now I want to show people, my assistant made this for me. So this is the evidence of progress every single day from January 14th until today, and I'm still doing it. I take pictures of myself. And this picture here was January 16th, when I fell, when I went unconscious twice and got my concussions. And so these two are January, these two are February. Look at the inflammation. Look at this in one month. That's March. This is April.
Wow.
Now look at these two pictures just in May. Okay, so you can see the swelling and the angioedema, and then I'm out walking in the sunshine, and then these two are me in June. So you can see, I mean, significant inflammation reduction, weight reduction, brightness in my eyes, and you in here you can see me that I'm moving, and I started to I started to walking on my own. Now, oh my gosh, I don't remember the date. I bet I have it marked. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the day that I started walking by myself, which was like maybe 10 houses there and 10 houses back, I
Mm-hmm.
took pictures of my feet walking and selfies. So, um, I what happens for me and for my clients is that we start to feel proud. The brain begins to feel proud and, oh, okay, it's safe to change. This is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
My confidence builds, my conviction builds, my sovereignty builds, and all of that contributes to healing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that one?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
we also we forget where we were a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago,
Hmm.
right? So you're building this confidence. You're letting the brain know it's okay. This can be fun. And you're also documenting the change. We forget about those changes, right? So easily when they're
Yes,
undocumented.
we do. And
Mm-hmm.
every documentation, subtle documentation, is a celebration. And again, it goes
Mm,
back to the childlike wonder, the playfulness, the curiosity, and the celebration is it's just vital. I mean, there are cultures who do this. They
really.
celebrate all kinds of rites of passages. And this is a
Mm-hmm.
rite of passage. And so celebrating, like the day I started driving,
Yeah.
so which was 3 weeks ago. Okay. three
Yeah.
weeks ago was when I started driving since January 14th.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
you sent me pictures. I was
sent
like,
you a picture.
yes.
Yes. So in fact, I think I might even have that photo. I'm having so many technology issues today that uh,
Hmm.
I am not completely prepared. Anyway, it's okay because it is what it is, and that's one of my workable attitudes. I wanted to show people the picture of me driving, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have my assistant tack on some photos at the end of this video, so people. And
Perfect.
so the day I drove, I drove a few miles um, with my friend Cynthia Riggs. She's also my business consultant. She's been my rock. Thank you, Cynthia. And Amy knows Cynthia too. And she drove with
I
me.
do.
So she she was she was my pilot in the driver in the she was my co-pilot in the passenger seat while I drove a few miles, like straight on roads. And she said, okay, I think you're okay to
Mm-hmm.
drive by yourself, a few miles locally. And the next day I drove locally, and I took a selfie and I sent it to you and many others.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
You
like,
looked
look, Ma,
ecstatic.
I was so happy. It was,
Yeah.
I sent it to my sister and my cousins, and I said, I feel like that 16-year-old just got her license. Now that is worth celebrating. That, and and you'll speak
It
to
is.
this, like that kind of celebration helps the nervous system, right? It helps us move
Yeah.
into the parasympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us why that
Absolutely.
would be important. I know, but just tell us.
Because then you can settle into the change, because then you when you're in parasympathetic, we naturally are healing, or just our capacity to heal is just heightened,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's a better state to be in when we need healing.
Hmm.
So
Precisely.
mhm.
And I contribute my excellent healing to that process of tracking my evidence of progress. And I want to share 4 quality. Look at me, 4. This is my brain right now, people. 4 qualities that are part of the visible transitions underbelly that helped
Mhm.
me heal. And in the beginning, um, I lost my conviction to heal. As you've seen by the photos, and those of
Yeah.
you who know me, I was in pretty dire straits physically, mentally. Also, I own my own business and I was not working. So then my income stopped, and I required helpers to come in twice a day, every day, to help me
Mhm.
with daily activities like making my bed, doing laundry, doing the dishes,
Mhm.
cooking, simple daily activities I needed help with every single day. And
Right.
the thing that I was to do a high percentage of the time was to lie in a dark room with my black scarf over my
Mhm.
head to heal my concussion. So uh, there I was in the dark for many, many days, and um, really thinking like, I'm so screwed. I am so screwed. I'm in trouble.
Right.
I'm in trouble once again. And how am I going to work and generate income? And my landlord had already given me notice to move out, and I happened to
Right.
live with him. He had already given me a notice to move out a week before, and thinking about having to move was so surreal. I was like, no way is this going to happen. And he
Mhm.
gave me grace until March. And then we all know what happened in March. The corona apocalypse came in, and all of my help went away. And
Yeah.
but I did have, except for you, but I'm talking about my in-home help. And uh,
Yeah.
my landlord and I had a discussion, and we negotiated that I could stay until May, and the corona apocalypse is still here. So actually, as of August 1st, I'm moving. So I'm really grateful I had this time. And all of this acute illness and moving and no income, I lost my conviction. I lost my conviction for life and to
Mhm.
heal. And I thought, well, I'm in big trouble if I don't have conviction. Because
Right.
I think you know me well enough that I'm a woman of conviction. So
Yeah.
when we don't have conviction, there's not much support for healing.
Right.
So I wanted to tell people, and I shared with you that I asked a question. The curiosity, I asked a question. And the question was, what is option 3? And this was in the context of, oh, well, I better go get a job. That is so funny. I just started
Right.
laughing. And my soul was like, Janet, what you talking about?
Right. Your soul was like, nah.
You're so silly. That's what society's telling you. Just stop. And then the
Right.
other option was run my business the way that I was running it, which was not terrible.
Mhm.
Yet clearly it's not the thing. And okay, well then what is option 3? Hello, I'm lying here.
All right.
So thank goodness my friend Christina, she started that GoFundMe, and thank goodness for people's generosity. And
Mhm.
so the blessings and the miracles just started coming. I mean, you and we actually I had a session scheduled with
Mhm.
you as my doctor on January 17th.
Mhm.
We already had that in the books. And January 16th, the day before, was when I went unconscious twice and got my
That's right.
concussion.
That's
So
right.
already like the blessings and miracles began.
Wow.
And the money and the gifts and the people showing up at my house, and you have gone above and beyond the call of duty for me. And my community running my luncheon, just goes on and on.
Yeah.
So the question was, what is option 3? And there was no obvious answer. Like, and I'm saying this for your people too. It's like, sometimes even when we ask the question and being in that state of curiosity, which is the opposite of resistance, we don't often get the answers right away, or the answers come from a different place, or they're not what we expected. And what I want to say is the actual asking, the actual asking of that question is what put me into the zero resistance.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the asking, it's not necessarily the asking and then expecting an answer right away.
Correct. And that happened 11 years ago when I was in my other health crisis, and Visible Transitions was born out of a question, which was, what the hell is going to get me off this floor? and being a contribution to life again. And so this time I was like, oh, okay, I know I got to ask a question. That's where my conviction's going to come, because that's the magic, is asking the question. It's going to be sincere.
Yeah.
So the action of asking that question put me into zero resistance, and we can say complete surrender, full acceptance. Now, again, you know this, that is an excellent place to be for healing. Parasympathetic state. And wow, that was just like, I felt like I was like on drugs, and I was like in the dark, feeling so groovy, like, oh, okay, I'm safe. I kept saying over and over again, I am safe, I am loved, I am held. I am safe, I am loved, I am held. And then I got to the space. So then now what my clients know is that when we get to the zero resistance state, we have full access to our solutions and answers. And okay, all right, because when we're resistant, we don't really hear, see, feel, know the answers. And so now I'm in that parasympathetic state and that expansive state. And I did have an aha moment, which
Did you?
Yes, which gave me an answer for my to get into conviction, like a really hardcore, like the roots of a tree into the earth conviction. Yeah.
Right.
And it started because I was recalling a phone call I had with a significant person in my life who was criticizing, the words that I was using to describe my current health issue, which was severe illness. And she said, you don't have a severe illness. You have, all you have is hives and a concussion. And I didn't feel supported in that conversation at all. What I noticed about myself is I gave my power away to her, like I always do. And I started to I needed to prove my value and my validity. I was literally proving my value and validity to this person who is significant in my life. My nervous system just went, it just like blew up in that moment.
Yeah.
I got off the phone. I had a couple of nervous meltdowns. And that's when my conviction came. Because so the question put me into the state of zero resistance, which is that expansive parasympathetic state from there, I had an aha moment where I realized one of my patterns, we all have our patterns and conditionings that run us from the back of the brain. So that's why I love the work I do, because I help people get all that unknown information and bring it to the front of the brain, to the consciousness, so we can have that knowledge to use and see how we're in our own way all the time. And you see this with your
Right.
people.
Yeah.
And so I saw how I was attempting to validate myself with this person. And I began laughing. I laughed so hard at myself. I'm like, honey, 54 freaking years. You've been holding yourself back. And ever since that day, I'm just like, I'm in my conviction. I am full of joy. I have full trust in life has my back. I'm excited about life, even though I'm still very limited. And so for your people who are watching this, and listening to you and how I dealt with you and us and what you witnessed, I want to say that just join the party. It's
join us.
Yeah, join the party. Yeah. So to summarize, there's curiosity, there's conviction, there's the gratitude and the humility. I mean, when I realized that I was giving my power away to this person and attempting to validate myself, I was embarrassed for myself for about that much time. But and then all this help that has come forth, allowing myself to be helped. I know there was a long period of time, and maybe you see this with your patients, people who are not willing to be helped. And there's
all the time.
There's a humility and gratitude that can really help us get into that place. I believe that we all like to help. So with that said, one, again, thank you so much. And I'm excited for what's ahead for our co-creation and being each other's colleagues as well. And I want to hear any more thoughts you have on this, and then we'll talk about what's next.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this process is amazing, and it's a much needed tool. And I think that you are so well equipped to do this, and you're really just amazed at how you've gone through the past 6 months. It really has been this amazing trajectory. And I really appreciate being able to witness the transitions and the progress and the setbacks. Because very often, and it's not about the practitioner ever really, but very often practitioners kind of sit around and wonder, how's my person, right? And so I really appreciated like the updates and seeing in my own experience, being able to witness that. So yeah, that's really all I had to say.
Awesome. Well, Amy, you helped me get to the root, what we think is the root cause right now of my system going into overload. And last November, where I woke up that day with the systemic hives, and you were for 2 solid months saying I would get that treated, and I would get an EpiPen, and I was like, I don't know, I'll be miserable. And then actually that night when I gave my talk at New of Marin, and I was eating shrimp, which I normally do when we are there each month, and I've never been allergic to shrimp or seafood. And I drove home and my hives started activating, which was normal at night. And I got into bed and I was like, I think my throat's closing. Yeah. And I drove myself to the emergency room and a day and a half later, passed out in the bathroom. And so you helped me with the hives and then the major concussions, and really dug deep, went layer to layer to layer, and we found out I had a parasite, other things as well. The
Right.
parasite being one of the biggest instigators of the inflammation and the mast cell activation syndrome. And
Yep.
so it took a while to get answers, and it's just, I knew we were going to get answers. Like with you, I knew we were going to get answers.
Oh,
And
that's great to hear.
yeah. Oh yeah. I knew I was going to get it. And we went, and you put me on this beautiful, I'm saying it's beautiful, botanical, slow kill parasite protocol. And I say it's beautiful because it was natural. It wasn't some drug.
Yeah.
And my parasite's gone.
Yeah.
So parasite's gone. I'm driving. I've released 45 pounds of inflammation and weight. And by the way, people, I'm in menopause. Okay. Okay.
Right?
I got hair loss, but it's actually growing back. I got all these little weird things here. Western medicine doesn't do this. I mean, Western medicine just, they don't stand by you and give you all these recommendations. And
right.
and you did
I think they just, they just have their limitations, and they don't have a lot of time, and there's a blind spot there. We all kind of know that, right?
Yeah, we do.
So
and people, I found a way to pay for all of my integrative medicine with Amy, and craniosacral therapy and acupuncture, and there's always a way. So most people might use lack of money as an excuse, and I say, get into your conviction, and it'll all flow. It'll all flow. All right. So last year, I had a client of mine who worked for an integrative doctor who was noticing what you were noticing, that these patients with acute, mostly chronic illnesses really needed emotional and mental support. Yeah. And that was what was missing from the treating the whole person. And she recommended to this holistic doctor to send her patients to me. So in the meantime, things with that doctor in her life have changed. So I created this support group, this ongoing support group called From Suffering to Celebration. I love your poster again. Suffer no more. Celebrate. And it's true. You have witnessed right here.
Yeah.
And again, the brain hates change. It needs 90 to 265 days to create lifelong change, like an actual shift in a pattern, habit, mindset. So we need we need the repetition, consistency over time. That's what yields results. So I have created this program called From Suffering to Celebration. It's a support group for all y'all, and for doctors and practitioners like you, Amy, to send your patients to me. And it's going to be running twice a month. Now, in what we want to do, what Amy and I are going to do is we are offering, right now we're going to offer 2 free introductions for you to come join us. So if you're a patient, if you're a practitioner, come join us on July 28th. That's a Tuesday, from 11 to 12 noon. And on August 10th, from 9 to 10 a.m. That's a Monday, August 10th, from 9 to 10 a.m. These are Pacific Standard Time. come join us, and I'm going to give you an experience of the support that you'll receive over time. And Amy's going to join us. She may or may not be on every single support class that I run for years on end. But if you're a practitioner, doctor, patient, or someone with a medical issue that you want some support with, join us on these free intros and learn more how you can how you can receive the ongoing support. And I'm actually going to show this this little thing, this photo, so you can see it, and we will put information. Oh my gosh, this is why I have an assistant who runs all my technology now.
Okay.
My brain is not on board yet. Okay, here we go. So this is free introductions. It gives you the dates. And Amy, interestingly enough, you'll see the question mark made of pills. And I know you use so you used something like this for your class a few weeks ago. Well, I had already made this, so this is actually my design. Of all the pills. That's something we'll get into too, like how to make joy out of all those pills that you're taking. All right, so we invite you to join us. Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I really appreciate your time, Amy. And I'm really looking forward to making magic for your people and my people and our people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Amy. And we'll see you on, what did we say? July 28th and August 10th. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.